Part 2. Mark, the oldest, just graduated college this year. He was at the far end of boyhood. We always met for lunch in a bar, and once, as I was paying, he said, "I'll tell you what I could do for you. I could straighten up your wallet." I suppose. If you start with your wallet, Tom, you can organize outward from there. The guy wears his world weariness like a spring coat, yet somehow still gives himself permission to use a phrase like awesome sauce in text exchanges. He's like an old Jewish uncle. He worries about me, he says, who's watched too much Dr. Phil. He used the term safe space twice as my mentor. I don't express my anger enough, he told me once. I'm actively looking to let that go, I said. Sal put me on that. Tell Sal that expressing your anger is the only way to let it go. Unlike any other mentor, Mark kept notes. He brought a list on a half sheet of legal paper, very specific suggestions cast broadly across the spectrum of my life: tension with my girlfriend, troubles with exercise, financial trouble, and tips for keeping a neater desk. He was right about the wallet. Every morning for a month I emptied it, reordering it before going out. At lunches I passed along the advice of the other mentors. Stay outside. Take one day and just read. Hold your breath 3 times in a row every night before you go to sleep. Put a picture of your favorite author next to your bed. Logan and I often did errands, paying bills, picking up cans of paint, dropping off mail. I liked talking to him while each of us was occupied. Early on, he told me, "I have it really easy right now. There's no tension in my life. To be frank, high school's easy for me." Easy? He squinted. "Well, yeah, maybe I'm not serious enough. I'm not sure you should even be listening to me." Mutual experience was the thing that connected us more and more. I wanted to play guitar. He was very good at it. He wanted a full career, a busy life. I had one. Sometimes I could tell he was thinking about mentoring. Once he looked up and said, "Here's some good advice. You should write a song every day. That's something a really good guitarist once told me. You should get a notebook and write a song a day for 30 days. It sounded nothing like him. He was lounging through what might be his last summer as a boy. "Write a song," I said. 30 days. Really? Is that good advice? He was about to say yes, I could see it. He was about to stand by it. But then Logan dropped the neck of his guitar, took a beat, and snorted. "No, not really. It's shitty advice. It's probably the worst advice ever." We laughed. 30 was a noisy exercise. I knew it sounded wrong as soon as I said it. He played a while longer. Just because something's impossible, or even really hard, doesn't mean you're going to learn from it. Time and again I defaulted to the mentors. We veered toward games, puzzles, pointless arguments about video games. When their parents, my friends, picked us up or came to get us when we were too hot to talk, I sat in the back seat with the mentor. We did their stuff and I took their lessons. Sal taught me the basics of Minecraft, ran me through Magic. Vin climbed the Emerald Palace again and again, 3 steps each time, slipping himself over the top rail without looking back. I just let him climb, rather than fight like his brother to get in edgewise. 8-year-old Cam quizzed me about books I should have read, testing my commitment by insisting that I sing Bohemian Rhapsody and flat out headbang it when he gave the signal. And then he asked me to do the chicken dance. If I could do that, he said, I could do anything. They were not easily occupied, but they moved slow, and I liked it. It was summer. There was no school. I did what they did, went the places they went, ate what they ate. I did take a long walk at a park called Turkey Run, 40 minutes longer than I expected. I took another, during which I came upon the skeleton of a bird, and another walk, then another. I did sleep in my backyard, on a blanket, woke at 5:30 a.m., discovered that I had rabbits, and walked downtown to get coffee. My back hurt less than I expected. I hadn't needed anything to sleep outside, which was either Oliver's point or something I needed to tell him. I'll admit I was sometimes skeptical, even cynical, about some of their suggestions for my free time. I thought about skipping a few at first, but because really, I'd been a boy once, and I had done a lot of it already. But it was good, solid, elemental advice, informed by their experiences, their own backyards. If the advice was run, then you were supposed to run, because that's what Cam did, and it felt pretty good. So before long, I did it, all of it, without question. And if it didn't solve my problems, it reminded me of a life before any of those problems existed. That's what a mentor does sometimes, no? Remind you of how you got where you got so that you can figure out how to get where you're going. And if it means walks in interesting forests or returning my wallet every morning to a state of grace, so be it. It wasn't always a series of Zen koans. Sometimes they missed. They didn't see anything wrong with quitting. They loved the internet blindly. They didn't see what the problem with taxes was. They underestimated what it cost to live. But they never offered me anything other than their honesty. And although they often started their answers by saying, "I don't know," they never said it as a means of throwing up their hands. They said "I don't know" as a starting point, as a means of making it clear that they didn't have everything down pat. For them, not knowing didn't preclude the possibility that we would figure it out together. And there was always the sense that not knowing the answer was a fair proposition, a perfectly fine state of being. They were boys, each one of them told me. How could they know everything I needed to know? One afternoon I sat with Cam in a joint we frequent called Dairy Queen. He was drinking his drink, malt, extra malt. We'd talked about Queen. He'd told me Freddie Mercury died of AIDS. I had told him I saw Queen in Toronto in 1981. He liked different songs from the ones I did. I got him a napkin. He tried to think of a lyric. Then I asked him something that was really bothering me. Why don't my sons call me more? I hate being lonely, I said. I raised 2 sons, and now they're just gone. Cam thought a while and then squinted. My mentors always took a little time to think. Literally. You could watch it. With Cam, I knew this look. The answer maybe wasn't all that hard. You should call them, he said. Make them want to call you. I couldn't argue with that, but I still managed to whine. Cam ignored me. He whittled it down to his own experience. You should make it fun for them, he said, so they'll want to call you. He looked at the world behind me, beyond us. He stammered a little. Cam looked left, then right, then hit the malt. No eye contact. If they know you're sad, they'll only be calling because you're sad. No one wants a sad call. Minutes later, I sensed that I was running out of chances to ask about what was really bothering me, so I asked him the hardest question. Okay, you want to know what it is? I said. You want me to ask? He ballooned out his cheek, pinched it, then shrugged. Sure, I guess. So I asked him, a question about my life, about what I'd thought I'd be doing and what I had ended up doing. I'm not going to ask it here. Why would I? Are you my mentor? Have we climbed together? Again, Cam asserted that he didn't know. He thought it over, turned his head. Sometimes his best answers came in the middle of the fullest head turn you'd ever imagine, his chin at a right angle from me. I waited. He said it again. I don't know. You're a smart person. He wasn't complimenting me or telling me that it should be obvious. It was part of his calculations. And he fidgeted some more. I don't know. I waited him out. At some point, his mom came in and quietly sat down with us. He didn't stop figuring. He took a deep breath and spoke in her direction. Sometimes smart people don't know what to do, he finally said, to no one in particular, to the air above her head. She smiled, I agreed, and Cam asked if they were going home now.